嗰啲常人㗎啦。佢就係一食食一上癮，所以佢冇得戒。如果我哋就食唔多啦，即係如果有唔聽嘅食下咁啊，即係佢係啊。
Post-mortem carried out by Dr. D. Dunwoody, Metropolitan Police Surgeon, Central Division. Female, approximately 20 years of age.
Younger, surely.
Dr. Watson.
Straight.
Dr. Watson is a surgeon here at the hospital.
I know perfectly well who Dr. Watson is. Stocking, tied about the throat.
It would be better to cut that ligature, to keep the knot intact. It's an old trick of Holmes. There's a world of information in a knot.
Short black jacket, cheap fur round collar, black silk skirt. Shabby genteel, typical prostitute attire. Body well nourished. Bruising round the throat, band-like contusions to wrists and knees. Looks like she's been trussed up. Probably some sexual game with a client that got out of hand.
Poor child.
Morning, Watson.
Oh, Holmes, how did you know it was me? I'm not smoking distinctive tobacco. I'm not wearing eau de cologne.
Reek of the slaughterhouse. Eau de morgue. Life away from Baker Street seems to suit you, Watson. I see you put on 7.5 pounds since last we met.
Half a stone, exactly.
Indeed? I should have thought it was a little more.
I'll have a cup of tea as well, please.
Miss Aileke. Why are you dogging my heels, Watson?
Potential case. Young girl, 16, perhaps 17. Found on the banks of the Thames at Shadwell. Silk stocking around her throat.
If you're looking for sensational material for one of your chronicles of crime, I suggest you adopt your usual practice and make it up.
I'm not looking for material. I'm trying to save a dear friend from killing himself with narcotics and boredom.
Your concern is touching.
You promised.
Promises are like pie crusts. They are made to be broken.
Come down to London Hospital. Take a look at this girl.
Give my regards to your fiancée.
Mrs. Hudson? Mrs. Hudson!
Your post for the last 3 days.
No. Mrs. Hudson, have you been tidying up?
Hardly.
Where?
What time will you dine, sir?
What?
What time will you dine?
7:30. Day after tomorrow. Snatched away in beauty's bloom. On thee shall press no ponderous tomb.
This is the second time you've known where to find me, Watson.
Am I that predictable?
Perhaps at long last I've learned to apply your methods.
The post-mortem report.
Yes.
What are the contents of her stomach?
About a dram or so of brandy. And some partly digested food, which appeared to be good Belgian chocolate.
A sign of coitus?
Not at all. She was a Virgo intacta. So much for the police said this assumption that she was a prostitute.
Well, at least someone had the good sense to leave this knot intact. Watson, with the possible exception of this stocking, these are not her clothes.
Really?
Well, she's not a working girl of any description. The nails are well kept, the hands are soft, teeth are straight.
Holmes. Oh, my God.
Get on the telephone to Scotland Yard and tell us straight this is the body of Lady Alice Pentney,
What?
Duke and Duchess of Narborough's daughter.
I love her. Okay, oh my God. Okay.
Let's make a start. Roberta, would you take my daughter's place for now?
Yes, Your Grace. Into your positions? Yes, that will do. Let us not forget that the night we present this tableau, the king will be there. Shall we try again?
This thing isn't stuck on properly.
There's an inspector to see.
I shall be back presently.
Where is Lady Alice now, Your Grace?
Not certain. To be honest, we fell out recently over a trivial matter, and now she's punishing me by not being here for the rehearsal. What's all this about, Inspector?
I must ask you to come with me to Whitechapel to look at the body of a young girl.
What?
Who answers your daughter's description?
That's impossible. Roberta, please don't worry. It's sure to be something and nothing.
Duchess of Narborough is here.
It's not her.
You're certain?
Just as I said, it's not her.
Excuse me.
Who are you?
I'm Sherlock Holmes.
I know your name.
Look again, Your Grace.
Can you confirm that this is Lady Alice Bentley?
Is this what she was wearing?
Yes.
These are not her clothes. Why was she wearing these clothes? Goodness sake. It's too awful.
A tuppenny halfpenny whore is one thing. This, God help me, is quite another.
I'm glad to see your thoughts and prayers are with the dead girl's family, Lestrade. Mrs. Hudson! I think you might recognize our guest.
Dr. Watson!
Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. He's been away.
Scheming starts before I even take off my hat. And you can stop that ridiculous dumb show as well.
You always were one of the most untidy men, but really, Holmes.
Watson, it's a free country. People have the right to send me letters. I have the right to leave them unopened. Now, Duke of Narborough. Here's Watson. George de Vere Pentney. K-G-P-C-A-R-A. Oh, my God, half the alphabet. Pour us a couple of brandies, would you, Watson?
There will be no more brandies in the middle of the day, Holmes.
6th Duke, educated Eton, Trinity College, Cambridge, seats Narborough Hall, Hampshire, half of Argyllshire, etc., etc., etc.
The body is like a fire in the grate. It'll go out unless it gets more coal.
How intensely interesting, Watson.
You must eat, Holmes. You have to give the body enough food to burn every day.
Happily, there are some exceptions to every rule.
Fine. Breakfast. 1 rasher of bacon, 1 egg, 3 ounces of...
Really, Watson? Save your breath to cool your porridge. Hmm? Hello? I'm afraid I... Well, in that case, I would be delighted. 8 for 8:30. Very well. Goodbye. Apparently, you're not the only one to take an interest in my diet.
What?
Yes?
The Duke of Narborough's here.
Uh-huh. I seem to have conjured up the man himself. Send him up, Mrs. Hudson.
Perhaps I should go, Holmes.
Oh, not a bit. Stay where you are. Come on, old chap. It'll be just like old times. Good day, Your Grace. Pray, take a seat. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Lord Blakemore tells me I may place implicit reliance upon your judgment and discretion. I have determined, therefore, to consult you in reference to a very painful event which has occurred.
I'm aware of Your Grace's loss.
I want you to find my daughter's killer, Mr. Holmes. I will pay handsomely for your services.
My professional charges are upon a fixed scale, Your Grace. I do not vary them unless I remit them altogether. You give me carte blanche to act in this affair.
Within the bounds of decency and taste.
How shall I keep in touch with you?
You can reach me at my club. Good day, gentlemen.
A complete gentleman.
Jack would be a gentleman, Watson, if he could speak French. I shall see you tonight for dinner.
Oh, I can't, I'm afraid, Holmes. I'm dining with my fiancée.
So, Watson, am I? 8 for 8:30?
Really, I see no reason for this.
Inspector Lestrade is doing no more than his duty, Your Grace. But I think perhaps, Lestrade, it would be better to call the staff one at a time. Understaff first, to avoid any further milling about.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
May I see Lady Alice's room, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Why on earth are there heavy-booted policemen trampling everywhere like a herd of buffalo?
Come on, everybody out. Yeah, put that down where it was. Now, come on.
Here, Lestrade. And here. Have this bottle examined for fingerprints. Keep some of the brandy for analysis. Egyptian deities. Made from the most fragrant of Turkish tobaccos. 2 were smoked in a holder, and 2 were extinguished beneath a gentleman's shoe.
She didn't put up a fight. No skin or hair beneath the fingernails. No sign of a struggle.
Be careful, Holmes, for God's sake.
Perhaps he gave her the Belgian chocolate. Lestrade, when was the last time we had a clear night?
Sunday.
She must have been She was wrapped in this. Is there a fire escape over there?
Yes, Holmes, there is.
Must have known his way about. Conduct a thorough search of the mews below and fingerprint everyone.
Everyone?
Without exception. One last night under the stars before this devilish fog descended. A bottle of l'Esprit de Courvoisier.
That would be from His Grace's cellar. Taken up to His Grace on Sunday night, just after 11 p.m.
I see.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Bates?
Yes, Florence.
Florence, whose coat is this?
It is the Duchess's coat.
Are you certain?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
I assume this mess will wash off. How sordid it all is.
Was your daughter very unhappy?
That is impertinent, Mr. Holmes.
On the contrary, Your Grace, it is entirely pertinent. Where did you imagine Lady Alice was on Sunday night?
We didn't know. She had once or twice gone off before.
Unchaperoned. What time did you leave your library that night, Your Grace?
I went to my bed at about midnight, I think.
Shortly after that, in the early hours of Monday morning, Lady Alice was abducted from the roof.
The roof?
Outside her bedroom, where she was sitting, wrapped in her mother's fur coat, smoking her father's cigarettes and drinking her father's brandy. She was taken down the fire escape out of the area via the mews.
Good God.
I believe she knew her killer.
Oh, Holmes, my dear fellow.
Part of your newly acquired American informality, wasn't it?
Sherlock.
Mrs. Vandeleur.
Jenny. Please call me Jenny. John, take Sherlock's coat. Now let me fix you a drink. You look like a whiskey man to me. Whiskey and soda. Am I right?
That would be...
And I'm gonna join you. John and I met at a conference in Zurich.
I was there for the skiing.
I'm a trained psychoanalyst. Surely you knew that.
I did not.
I find it so strange that you two can be such close friends and yet not talk about someone as significant as a fiancé.
I take no interest in such matters.
No. But then, as I understand it, Sherlock, you dislike and distrust women.
Oh, quickly, pour more wine.
Women are one of the necessary evils.
I take it you've never been in love?
My brain has always governed my heart.
Would you ever submit to analysis? You'd make a fascinating study.
West African.
Yes.
Incredibly ugly.
Have you traveled much, Sherlock?
I've always held that travel narrows the mind. On the whole, it's best I should not leave the country. It causes an unhealthy excitement among the criminal classes.
You know, it struck me that perhaps Lady Alice's clothes might be imbued for her killer with some special significance.
Go on.
He seems to have kept them for himself.
You mean for himself to wear?
Possibly.
Some fetishistic power, perhaps.
Do you know this? Richard von Krafft-Ebing's Icopathia Sexualis.
Not intimately.
I warn you against some of the doctor's more antique moral stances, but the case studies are fascinating. It is, I have to say, an indispensable reference for anyone interested in sexual derangement.
Thank you.
You may keep it.
You're most kind.
It has a wonderful array of perversions. Sadomasochism, bestiality, exhibitionism, transvestism, coprophilia.
I'm out of the room for 10 minutes.
Pederasty, necrophilia, rape, mutilation.
Look what happens.
Lust, murder, the list goes on.
So it would appear. Holmes.
Strong and black, please, Watson.
Done.
When did the girl go missing?
Just after 9, sir. It took us nearly 2 hours to track you down.
Mr. Holmes, this is Lord Massingham.
This is my colleague, Dr. Watson.
It is his lordship's daughter, Lady Georgina, who has gone missing. She went up to her room just before 9.
It's her first season, Mr. Holmes. She's been rehearsing a presentation at court before the king. She was tired and terribly upset, poor thing, about the Bentley girl. She went up to her room. My wife went up about 10 minutes later. The door was locked from the inside. We could get no answer.
What did you do?
We forced the door.
The room was empty. Where is Lady Massingham now?
She's lying down.
Has she received any medical attention?
Our doctor has called. She's been sedated.
This is Lady Roberta, Lady Georgina's older sister.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson are helping the police with their inquiries.
You must find her, Mr. Holmes. We'll need you to find her.
May I see the room now?
Of course.
Give me a moment in the room alone.
Lord Massingham is, by all accounts, extremely close to the king.
Steady, Lestrade. Let's concentrate on the matter in hand. Holmes? Holmes? Holmes?
Always look up at a crime scene, gentlemen.
Anything?
Holmes is following a line of investigation.
Georgina! Oh, is she back? Is she home? Hugo?
I've established, I'm afraid, how Lady Georgina was abducted.
Oh, no. I must find her. Please, please, I beg you. Please find her. Oh, please.
Perfect weather for a man with murder in his heart.
Yes, well, let's just hope we find her before anything terrible happens.
She's dead already.
What?
Of that I'm quite sure. Familiar, ethereal, and aromatic odor.
Chloroform.
Both girls were drugged. Lady Alice with the sleeping draught and the brandy. Lady Georgina with chloroform. Neither girl showed any sign of having defended herself.
You're saying it's the work of the same man?
Oh, without a doubt.
What, one girl fished out of the Thames, the next hung from a lamppost?
The murderer's modus operandi may change, Lestrade, but his distinctive trademark does not. In both cases, stockings. In the throat, tied about the neck. The distinctive knot, the signs of bondage. These are the killer's calling card. This man leaves his mark on his work, like a painter leaves his signature upon a canvas.
It's Georgina.
Are these your sister's clothes?
No.
It's the one unidentified fingerprint from the brandy bottle.
You think it's the killer's?
Oh, he's our man, all right. I told you he'd leave his mark, Lestrade.
Yes?
The clothes, Lady Georgina.
Lady Georgina Massingham, yes.
The clothes she was wearing.
Belonged to Lady Alice Pentney, yes. The clothes Lady Alice was wearing when she was abducted.
Yes, sir.
My advice to you, Lestrade, put every available man you have onto the streets of Belgravia.
Oh, God.
Notice how Lady Alice's clothes fitted Georgina Massingham?
Not really.
Almost perfectly.
I don't see that the size of the frock...
Perhaps she was chosen because she was the same height. Wait. The killer has a good, even trained eye for such things. It is possible he worked for a dressmaker's. visited by Lady Alice or Georgina?
Find out where they got their clothes made. Get a list of staff employed.
Certainly any future victims will conform to that physical type and be drawn from the same class.
Compile a list of all the daughters of the aristocracy that fit the physical pattern.
Yes, sir. Oh, and I would like to examine the clothes Lady Alice was wearing when she was found. Would you arrange to have them taken to Baker Street?
You'll have to sign for them.
Keep up the good work, Lestrade.
It seems we are searching for a multiple murderer, responsible for the deaths of both Lady Alice and Lady Georgina. Normally, such men prey on easy targets, prostitutes, children. This man's victims are drawn from the highest echelons of society. They are cared for, chaperoned wherever they go. And yet, beneath the cover of this fog, he has taken them from under the very noses of their parents.
This is no ripper. No frenzied lust murderer. He is charming, presentable, and he selects his victims with enormous care. He's very strong, extremely agile. And once he has them, he must take them somewhere. His lair. Because he spends time with them. Stripping them of their clothes, binding them at the wrists and the knees. There comes a point where the killer takes one of the girl's stockings, pushes it into her mouth. I believe the gag produces the kind of noises from the victim the killer finds exciting. He then takes the second stocking, puts it around the throat. Possibly, he uses a short length of wood, twisting it to tighten the ligature, like a tourniquet. There seems to be no evidence of sexual congress, but make no mistake. Our man is a sexual sadist. He gains voluptuous pleasure from the fear and pain and degradation of his victims. Finally, he dresses the body in the clothes of the previous victim that he's kept especially for that purpose. The clothes, the ritual redressing of the body are of the utmost symbolic value to the killer.
Right. There are, at present, no suspects.
The police are, as usual, completely out of their depth. There is something I'm afraid I have withheld from our friends at the CID.
Withholding information is a serious business, Holmes.
Oh, nonsense. I tell as much or as little as I choose. That is the advantage of being unofficial.
Well, what is it?
Well, Georgina was dressed in Alice's clothes. Alice was dressed in shabby clothes. Logic dictates there must be an as yet unidentified, more humble first victim from whom those poor quality clothes were taken.
Yes.
If she can be identified, even found, she will, I have no doubt, be an invaluable source of evidence. The first victim always tells the detective more than any other.
Oh, this is satinette. Thinner, cheaper version of satin. In this instance, mixed with wool. Fairly sure it is American in manufacture. From the mills of New York, I should. What is it?
Something here, Holmes. It feels like a coin.
Oh, it's a popular hiding place amongst the poor.
Sixpence?
No. Half sovereign.
Remarkable, Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson. There's a marked difference in weight.
There's something else. Looks like a pay slip.
Here's the name of the firm. W.G. Bilney.
Bilney's.
You know of such an establishment?
It's a shoe shop at the West End.
Oh, you must pay them a visit, Watson. We're looking for an American girl, probably not older than 20, outstanding looks despite her humble circumstances, refined manners, 5 feet 5 or 6 inches tall, slim, shapely, fair skin, dark hair.
I do have other demands upon my time, Holmes. I am to be married.
I'm aware of that, Watson.
Could possibly spare an hour or two.
There's this hope that that will be sufficient.
Mr. Holmes.
Lady Roberta.
My father is out at the moment. He's dealing with the funeral arrangements.
I wonder, may I see Georgina's room once more?
Of course.
Do you have no photographs of your daughter, Mr. Vanderleer?
I'm afraid not. I lost all my personal belongings in a fire back in New York.
I do. There was one girl who fits your description exactly, who was, in fact, American.
No kidding.
But she went by the name of Sarah O'Brien.
O'Brien was her mother's maiden name.
This really is most awkward. The girl in question came to England as a confidential maid to an American heiress who was betrothed to an English peer. Upon the lady's marriage, the girl continued in her employ, but by Christmas of that year, her services were no longer required. In the new year, she came to me seeking employment.
Do you remember the name of the American heiress?
I believe her money came from pork packing. It's slipped my mind, I'm afraid.
What happened to my daughter, Mr. Bilney?
Are you a religious man, Mr. Holmes?
I'm a skeptic by nature. O Lord, if there is a Lord, save my soul, if I have a soul. I am aware that religion can be a very great comfort to some in times like these.
I fear that my father may be losing his faith. He wants me to read something at the service. But I do not know if I shall have the strength.
I'm sure you'll be able to do as your father asks. For what it's worth, I think you'll emerge from this ordeal a very remarkable young woman indeed.
Thank you.
Perhaps you should attach something personal of Georgina's to your funeral wreath.
What do you mean?
A memento mori.
What sort of thing?
Something suggestive of her spirit. It seems she liked dancing.
Yes.
Perhaps her dancing shoes. Where did Lady Georgina have her shoes made?
At Bilney's.
Sarah O'Brien committed suicide. Or so the coroner decided. Threw herself into the Thames.
What in the coroner's opinion had driven her to such drastic action?
He could find no motive. One intriguing thing, she was recovered from the water naked.
Intriguing?
Well, highly unusual for a woman if she intends to take her own life. Perhaps Bilney will recall the name of that mysterious lady Porkpacker.
Well, she cannot be that difficult to track down, Watson. Despite the fact that London is awash with American heiresses seeking titled husbands. I'll set Lestrade onto it. Even though he's utterly devoid of reason, he's as tenacious as a bulldog once he understands what he has to do. What happened to the body?
Well, that I know from Bilney. She was buried in Whitechapel at his expense.
Oh, good work, Watson.
Thank you, Holmes. I think you would have appreciated my performance. I assumed the character.
Forgive me, but didn't you mention you had an engagement at 2?
It's not 2, is it?
Gone 2, my dear fellow.
Oh, but I'm late, Holmes. Oh, I'm horribly late. I was meant to be Mrs. Vanderleer. Bond Street, a damn bloody boots.
More haste, less speed, Watson.
She wants my opinion on a dress.
Really?
Not just any dress, Holmes. It's the dress.
I didn't realize you were an expert on haute couture.
No, damn well I'm not.
I, on the other hand, have been studying the fashion plates. Pale grey is all the rage. With a white tulle boa and pink malmaisons. One could cover the scenes of these crimes with a half-crown piece. He's fishing in a very small pond, Lestrade. Any matches on the thumbprints?
No. A letter to the Commissioner from the King, though. His Majesty suggests our detectives be improved. He says they are not what they should be. He expects the matter will be resolved with no further loss of life. I might as well resign now, save everyone the bother.
Self-pity is an extremely unattractive quality, Lestrade. Now, I need permission to exhume a corpse.
What?
One Sarah O'Brien, fished out of the Thames July this year.
I very much doubt that I should
You
be
better
able...
make sure we're not held up by red tape. The King, Lestrade. Remember the King.
My God, it's filthy out there. It is impossible to breathe. The hospital's filling up with respiratory cases.
Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air. How is the dress?
What? Oh, yes, too late. Missed the whole damn kit and caboodle. What in God's name are you doing, Holmes? You look like you're about to dance the fandango.
You are developing an unexpected vein in porky humour, Watson, against which I must learn to guard myself. There. The trap is baited.
What trap?
Oh, he's out there, Watson, watching and waiting. I think he'll attend Lady Georgina's funeral. If he does, I'm hoping that this special tribute from Roberta will be too much to resist.
You must not place Lady Roberta in any danger.
She will not be in any danger.
I'll be keeping a very close eye on her.
No, you will not be there, Watson. I have a special task for you of the utmost importance.
Love is the passion which endureth, which neither time nor absence cureth, which naught of earthly change can sever. Love is the light that shines forever. Its chain of gold, what hand can break it? Its deathless hold, what force can shake it? Mere passion aught of earth may sever, but souls that love, love on forever.
Thank you for coming. I think you were
Lead the horses, Charles. We won't get home otherwise.
Yes, Your Grace.
Imogen, come on.
Imogen? Imogen! Imogen, darling. Imogen! Imogen, darling. Imogen! 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 Imogen!
Imogen!
What is it? What's happened?
Another girl is missing.
It is Imogen Houghton. She's only 13, Mr. Holmes.
What news, Watson?
For God's sakes, Holmes, at least let me get into the room before you start with your infernal interrogations.
Why do you reek of surgical spirit?
Trying to get rid of the stench of that poor girl. It's revolting, Holmes. Is that Bach you're playing?
I prefer German music when I feel introspective.
Why are they looking inwards?
A young girl was snatched from the funeral.
No.
Right from under our noses.
Oh, Lady Roberta.
No. Imogen Houghton, youngest daughter of Sir John and Lady Houghton. She's only 13.
Oh, good God. Well, what made him go for someone so young?
Oh, I think it was purely opportunistic. He saw his chance and seized it. I should be very surprised if she differs physically from the other girls. So much for my trap. What do you got there?
I removed this stocking from the throat of Sir O'Brien, pushed deep in her gullet.
So, the work of the same hand. All my instincts tell me she's close by. But as we have no possible means of telling where, we must possess our souls in patience. Did she get a clear view of him?
I've not been allowed to question her. She's in with the doctor. She is in a state of shock, as you can imagine, the poor mite.
Other lives, Lestrade, will certainly be lost if the killer is not found with all possible haste. It is a remarkable stroke of good fortune that this girl has lived to tell the tale.
The telling will have to wait.
Damn it, Lestrade! I cannot make bricks without clay.
Holmes, I have to say, were I the family physician, I would recommend rest. A shock to the system of this kind can lead to a lowering of the blood pressure.
Yes, Watson, I understand all about shocks to the system. Is it not possible to argue that it is good to talk through such a traumatic experience while it is still fresh, before it has a chance to fester, with a sensitive, professional person?
You would listen for 30 seconds and then start cross-questioning her.
I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about an extremely kind, considerate female psychiatrist of my acquaintance.
And who on earth is that?
We have found the American Lady Porkpacker. She is now Lady Mara.
Why did she dismiss Sarah O'Brien?
She thought she was stealing her clothes. Well, if not stealing them, at least taking them and wearing them.
What sort of clothes?
Undergarments, stockings, shoes.
Mrs. Vandeleurs on her way.
Presumably, for a month or two, Sarah O'Brien worked alongside Lord Marham's staff.
And there's a list here.
Charles Allen. Lord Marham's footman at the time of Sarah's dismissal. Ha! Charles Allen. Now the Duchess of Narborough's footman.
Can you be sure it's the same man?
Even if it is, it makes no odds.
Oh, how do you work that out, Inspector?
He has a watertight alibi, Holmes.
Really, Watson, you are scintillating this morning.
On the night that Lady Alice went missing, he was at a formal dinner with the Duchess in plain view of 100 guests. When Lady Georgina was abducted, again he was with the Duchess.
There should be no combination of events for which the wit of man cannot conceive an explanation. Bring him in for questioning, Lestrade. Bring him in now.
Here she is.
I've taken the liberty of jotting down a few questions.
I can't promise anything, Sherlock, except I will put the girl's psychological well-being first.
Of course. But pay particular attention to point 3.
He grabbed me from behind. He had a cloth that was soaked with some horrid stuff over my mouth and nose. I tried to call out, but I couldn't. He was dragging me backwards through the graves. I must have passed out.
What's the next thing you can remember?
Then he removed my blindfold.
Did you see his face?
I wanted to talk to you about a time you spent as footman working for Lord Marham. Do you remember a young girl, Lady Marham's personal maid, Sarah O'Brien?
Yes, I do.
She was dismissed from Lady Marham's service.
I believe so.
Do you have any idea why?
No.
Do you know what became of her?
Yes, I do. She committed suicide. It was in the newspapers and the staff talked about it.
Do you have any idea why she would take her own life?
No.
He had a pair of stockings in his hand. He put one round my neck and knotted it.
Really, I don't think...
He pushed the other stocking into my mouth.
This is too much for her, surely.
Why did you leave Lord Marham's employ?
I was offered employment by the Duke of Narborough. I accepted the offer.
How was it you came to the Duke's attention?
I attended Lord Marham on a number of occasions when the Duke of Narborough was also present.
And you caught his eye?
I really don't know.
Or was it the Duchess's eye? It is the Duchess you serve, is it not?
Yes, Holmes, it is.
It is a small point, but perhaps you would give me my prefix when you address me. Otherwise, with my line of work, I should find myself on familiar terms with half the villains in London.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. It is the Duchess I serve.
He showed me the clothes he had for me. He kept saying how beautiful I'd look in them. He started to undress me. He took off my dress. I was standing. He knelt at my feet. He removed my shoes. And he...
I think we should stop now. Did he hold the shoes in his hands? Did he stroke them? Kiss them?
Do you know a shop called Bilney's? They are shoe and boot makers.
No.
It's where Sarah O'Brien worked after she left service.
Is it?
Where does Her Grace go for her footwear?
Calstocks and Piccadilly.
How does she like her boots to be tied? Side, front, or back?
The front.
He rolled down my stockings. Down to my ankles. He put his mouth on my toes. He took hold of my stockings in his teeth and pulled. He pulled the left one off. He did the same with the right. All of a sudden, he was in a fury. He was shouting at me. He dragged me out of the room, up some stairs and out into the street. I still had the stocking in my mouth. I thought I was going to choke.
Stand up, please. Be so kind as to put your foot on there for me. Thank you. You've been most helpful. I'm going to ask a police officer to take your fingerprints.
They've already been taken.
Yes, but there was a problem. I should like them done again. You can have no objection.
No.
Good. Wait here.
She saw him. She's giving one Lestrange's man a description.
Splendid.
She's had the narrowest of escapes. It was not as bad an ordeal, I think, as it might have been.
Why did he let her go, do you think, given that she can identify him?
I don't know. Perhaps even he balked at the idea of harming a 13-year-old?
No, it is not that. The clothes would fit her perfectly. There's something else. I'm afraid we need to be granted one more favor.
I can describe Imogen's feet for you, Doctor.
It is important, Lady Hellhoughton, for us to see for ourselves.
May I?
Thank you, Imogen. Thank you, Lady Hellhoughton.
The surgeon has done an excellent job. Thank you.
That deformity and that alone is the reason she was released. Talipes carcinovalgus?
Talipes virus, I should say.
Which is?
Clubfoot.
Excuse me. Thank you again for your cooperation.
May I go now?
Certainly.
Excuse me.
Someone will need to escort you from the building. Red tape. Come along.
Surely I came in that way.
No, this way. I think we can call that a positive identification.
Call it what you like.
That was really quite a cruel thing to do, Sherlock.
Possibly, but to my mind, justified.
Sir, these are the latest Charles Allen fingerprints.
You took these this morning?
15 minutes ago, sir.
It doesn't match, Holmes. We know he was with the Duchess when Imogen Hellhoughton was abducted from the graveyard. We know he was attending the Duchess in front of 100 dinner guests when Lady Alice was taken. The Hellhoughton girl has been through a terrible ordeal. She cannot be in her right mind. It must be a case of mistaken identity. You have nothing against the man, Holmes, nothing at all.
Sir. Duke and Duchess of Marlborough here to see you, sir.
What?
Is my footman free to leave now?
Yes, he is, and I should like to apologise, Your Grace, for the trouble we've put you.
No trouble, Inspector. Merely a small inconvenience.
Where were you last night, Your Grace?
Answering questions put to me by Inspector Lestrade is one thing. Responding to your impertinent snooping, quite another.
May I remind Your Grace, it was your husband who called upon me in my Baker Street rooms.
Yes, well, perhaps you would be kind enough to call upon me in Eaton Square and we can settle the matter. I no longer wish you to act on my behalf.
As Your Grace pleases.
What? You imagine no one else can solve this case? What monstrous egotism.
This way.
There's nothing more stimulating than the case where everything turns against you.
Wouldn't the most sensible thing be to keep all the blasted debutantes under lock and key until this fiend is caught? Or at least to the fog lips.
Eminently sensible, Watson, but you're forgetting one thing.
And what is that?
There can be no interference with free trade. Daughters must be married off. Thank you, Mrs. Vandeleur, for your help.
I don't know if I should have been involved at all.
Oh, really? Well, we live and learn.
What do you want? You're scaring me. Why are you hit like this?
I needed to see you without your father knowing. Roberta, do you have the courage to bait a trap to catch your sister's killer? I understand you have made shoes recently for Lady Roberta Massingham.
Yes, I have.
I want you to make a pair of shoes for her. I need them for tonight.
Tonight?
Good evening, Your Grace. Good evening, Your Lordship.
Dr. Watson, how are you?
Very well.
Where's Mr. Holmes?
I wish I knew. I was due to meet him here.
Monsieur Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
The second highest criminal expert in Europe?
May I inquire, Your Excellency, who has the honor to be first, in your view?
To a man of a precisely scientific mentality, the work of Monsieur Bertillon must always have a very strong appeal. Très bientôt.
Pompous oath.
Their Royal Majesties, King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra.
Thank you.
Your sister would have loved this.
Are you all right, Your Ladyship?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Would you like me to turn up the light so you can see more easily?
Please don't trouble yourself.
Would Your Ladyship care for a drink?
No, thank you.
Are you sure you're feeling quite all right? You look a little faint.
I'm quite all right, I assure you. Go back to your mistress.
You might find a glass of champagne reviving.
Now, please leave me.
Jamais de la vie! Stay down! God!
I was helping her. She fainted.
Dr. Watson, on est arrivé à l'heure, hein? Vraiment, un moment plus tard, et ça va être le désastre, hein? Huh? Well, not bad for the second highest criminal expert in Europe, eh?
Once again, Holmes, you have deliberately held me at arm's length. I really think you might treat me with a little more frankness.
My profession would be a drab and sordid one, Watson, if I did not sometimes set the scene to glorify the results.
You have a curious secretive streak in you, Holmes.
The only safe plotter is he who plots alone.
Thank you for that vote of confidence.
Oh, for God's sake.
Ah, Inspector, I want this man's fingerprints taken.
Again?
Again.
We've taken his fingerprints twice already, and they do not match the thumbprint on the brandy bottle.
This time they will.
How, for God's sake?
Because there is not one Charles Allen, but two.
What?
When all other contingencies fail, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
But what do you mean, two?
It's the only explanation. The man we have in custody must have a double.
What?
The Dromio brothers. The brothers Antipholus, Castor and Pollux.
In English, Holmes.
An identical twin.
So one of them is still on the loose?
Yes, but we have the killer.
How can you be sure?
I He was making his move on Lady Roberta.
Holmes!
The fingerprints will clear the matter up. While the sadistic twin has been going about his dreadful business, his brother has been providing his alibi. So far on both occasions, the Charles who has been fingerprinted has been the accomplice, not the murderer.
But if they're identical...
Fingerprints Lestrade, even in the case of identical twins, are distinctive and individual. We have him at last.
She's sleeping. Thank you for all your help.
Think nothing of it. How is your wife?
She's been taken into a sanatorium.
Perhaps that's for the best until she regains her strength.
I fear she may never recover from the loss of Georgina. A gentleman, of course, can bear a shock when it must come. But a woman, they are the weaker.
I am to be married tomorrow.
Really? I didn't know. Congratulations.
Here are the new fingerprints, sir.
Give them to me. We have the wrong man.
What?
The killer is still out there. Telephone Lord Massingham immediately. He must be warned. Lady Roberta is in very grave danger.
Hello?
Dr. Watson!
Oh, my God. Roberta.
Chloroform. What is happening, Holmes?
There are two of them, Watson. Identical, it would seem, almost impossible to tell apart.
How long have you known?
I've suspected for some time now. The distinctive knot in the ligature, Charles's shoelaces were tied in exactly the same way. Imogen Hellhouten's identification of him left me in no doubt. He had to be our man. But how could he have been in two places at once? There had to have been two of them.
But we have the wrong man.
We have the wrong man. Watson? Watson!
Where does he take them? Where does he take them?
Just do it. And get it over with.
I must see the Duchess of Narborough.
Do you know what time it is, sir?
With all respect, sir, excuse me.
It's impossible.
I assure you it is not. You have been duped, used in the worst possible manner.
I don't know what you mean.
Your Grace, even as we speak, while one brother is in police custody, the other is torturing and very possibly murdering Lady Roberta Massingham. You must help me if you can. You cannot protect the man who killed your own daughter. You cannot protect yourself at the cost of another young girl's life.
I cannot. I'm confused. It's hard to understand.
No, Your Grace, it is not. These two men have consistently taken each other's place, posed one as another, shared everything. Everything. Did your woman's instinct not tell you? I ask you once again, Your Grace, do you have any idea where he might be? Where did your assignations take place?
Where is she?
After the ball is over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many the hopes that have vanished after the ball.
Watson?
Holmes, they used to be at Albert Mansions in Kensington.
Wait! I'll take you there.
What?
I know where he takes the girls. I'll take you there. It's hard to keep one's hands soft. Smooth enough to do this. silk stocking would catch in most people's hands. Not mine.
Sorry!
No, please. No, no.
It's down here.
Damn it! Come on! Stop that man! Stop that man! Stop!
Holmes? Watson? Are you armed? My cane.
What number?
Number 12. What is it?
Watson! Release her or I will shoot!
Can you be sure of your aim?
Not entirely. I can be sure of one thing. If you kill her, I guarantee you will never see your brother again. Release the tourniquet. You will be tried alone. You will be hanged alone. You will never see each other again in this world. Let her go. It's like a door, isn't it? It opens. If you walk through, you can never turn back. I know. Because it's an addiction. We need a little bit more each time, don't we? To lift us. To get us to the same height. What's your brother in all this? Your alibi, certainly. Pimp? Does he share your perversions? They dress so well, these girls, don't they?
Dress well.
Cavorting round in front of me in their costumes. Wearing next to nothing. Flaunting themselves.
They're not flaunting themselves. They don't even acknowledge your existence. My lady can take you to her bed. But the young girls that you want, that you like, they don't even look at you, do they?
They do when they're here. Then they do.
Aren't these beautiful?
Leave them.
I like to touch them. Such soft leather.
Put them down.
A wonderful smell.
I said put them down!
Special shoes. a special girl. No further use for these. How is she, Watson?
She's not breathing, Holmes. Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Here, Dr. Watson. Let me take her.
Careful. I'll go on with her. A wedding day to remember.
A toast. If a man is to be judged by the company he keeps, then it is only right and proper that Watson has at last found himself a charming and agreeable companion. Dr. and Mrs. Watson, I wish you health and happiness.
Health
and happiness. Now we must away.
A word of warning, Jenny. Don't let Watson tell you he's not in the mood for pictures and drag you to the Musée d'Anatomie to show you the waxen hearts and lungs and livers.
Don't worry, Sherlock. Our itinerary's already planned. And tomorrow night, we shall be at the Opera Garnier.
Je ne vous dis que ça.
What would you do with yourself, Sherlock? Now your Boswell's away.
For me, there is always the needle.
Holmes.
Good old Watson, you're the one fixed point in a changing age. No, I shall sit and stare at the wall like Whistler's mother, a study in grey. And now, it's time you left. If you're not to miss your luncheon tomorrow at the Hotel Splendid.
I hope you will still come for me, Holmes. You need a companion in your investigation.
My dear fellow, of course. Of course.
Bon voyage.